So, first of all, this shiur is dedicated לרפואה שלמה of חיים ישראל בן בתיה הלוי, חיים אלכסנדר בן פריידה מלכה, to the הצלחה ויצחק בן דוד הכהן, איתן נפתלי בן יצחק שלום, להבדיל לעילוי נשמת פריה בת שרה בן דוד בן אסנת הלוי. Last week on Parashat Truma, we dealt with building of the Mishkan, building of the tabernacle. The Zohar over there, we saw it, that taught us that the word Truma should be split into two parts. And we need to call it Terom Hashem. In other words, to elevate Hashem. When we say to elevate Hashem is really to elevate His, His glory, the glory of Hashem. Shh, guys. Now, in other words, he tells us that there is within our ability to elevate our reality that is being symbolized by the letter A, because we say Hey is the last letter of the Shem, Yud Ke Vav Ke, so the Hey is the Malchut, which is this world. We have the ability to elevate, to do basically Kiddush Hashem, and to elevate to such high levels that it will make all the difference in the world. Mainly, the way to do so, is by giving to others, donating, giving to others, and so on and so forth. Doing chasadim, having the awareness of Kedusha. Thank you. So this week, Parashat Tetzaveh is a continuation, a direct continuation of this parasha, and it deals mainly with the Kohen Gadol, with the high priest, and the special garments that he wears. In a way, none of us have anything to do with what this parasha is kind of talking about. In other words, it talks about the Kohanim, the priests, and then it talks about the high priest, that even if we were Kohanim, But after the destruction of the temple, the second temple, the expression or the title Kohen lost a lot from its meaning. And that in a way allowed us the opportunity to all of us to become Kohanim, to become priests. Zalman, why don't you sit here, Motek? Just sit here. Here, take this. In other words, when we had Beit HaMikdash, the focal point of Am Yisrael was the Mikdash. Now the focal point of Am Yisrael is the Torah. Since the focal point of Am Yisrael is the Torah, we could all become Mamlechet Kohanim, and by doing so we're going to become a Goy Kadosh, a holy nation. And what is very important from here to us to understand that Avodat Beit HaMikdash became personal. It's not something that is done, it's something that is personal to you, yourself, in order to fulfill what the Pasuk said last week, V'asu li mikdash v'shachanti betocham, and they should make a temple, and I would dwell amongst them. Not it, among them. So that by doing so, we actually mekayem this Pasuk. Each and every one of us had received the opportunity and the responsibility, which is a dirty word today, nobody wants to hear the word responsibility, to create a temple, a holy domain in everything that you deal with, in everything that you touch, to sanctify your life, to sanctify your house, your marriage, your business, your interactions, and so on and so forth. And it's very important to understand that not doing so would lead you, one way for sure, is to a life of enslavement. If you want to become free, start sanctifying your life. Believe me. Now, the parasha, you see, we didn't mention this parasha yet. The parasha is Parashat Tetzaveh, right? And it says, Ve'ata Tetzaveh et bnei Yisrael. And you would, מה זה תצווה?
Command.
Order, command, exactly it. That's why Onkelos wrote, Ve'ata tefaked. Mefaked is a commander. In other words, to teach us that we have to take charge of our lives. Pay attention, guys, boys and girls, pay attention. You have to take charge of your life. You have to be the commander of your life. We have to understand that we are the Kohanim, the high priests, who were placed in a position to do the tremendous changes in our lives. A commander comes and he does the necessary changes. You should be ve'ata tetzaveh. In other words, I'm sure if I'll say it, I'll be challenged, but there's a way to look at it, that in a way there is a commandment here for us, a hidden commandment to us, to take charge of our life and not let others take charge of our lives. You have to be your boss. You have to, and maybe we'll talk a little bit about what leadership and being commander is all about. I tell you the truth, I was starting to go, and you know how much I love special ops and stuff like this, and all of a sudden I realized that I have about 4 pages just about commanding of different style of commanding in special ops. You know what, we'll leave this to a different time, let's go somewhere else. But it's in a way, we are ve'ata tetzaveh. In other words, don't wait for me to tell you, you're going to tell. You're going to tell them you're going to be a commander, and therefore to all of us. And our essence, in a way, is to become a creator and controller of our life, and therefore it is our responsibility to be able to command and to order also the reality of our lives. You create your own reality. And it's something that is very important and very difficult for us to accept, that we create the reality of our lives. Now, and the reality that we should go along the line is to do or to act according to what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants from us, whatever God wants us to do. That's why we need to remember, first of all, and to understand that this is our job to be Kohanim, to be priests.
Arson loves it.
Arson loves it? We love Arson. The only thing is that Arson is not here. But Arson, you're missing tremendous chulant here that Idan made. Idan Yosef Dan Dayan. With a lot of meat for you carnivores. So, and in other words, to act and to operate, and I'm using the word operate, as a Kohen Gadol in Bet HaMikdash. When the Kohen Gadol is Bet HaMikdash, and we see it during the avodah of the Kohen on Yom Kippurim, he knows exactly what he needs to do. Don't say, well, I don't know what I'm doing. You need to know exactly what's the objectives of your goal. In other words, as we spoke earlier, you need to be able to set yourself. I would go a little bit. I would hold myself back a little bit. You need to set yourself weekly goals. Shamir, take it easy. We need to set ourselves weekly goals, and every day to pick a goal and to accomplish that goal. Quiet, please. To pick up a goal every single day to accomplish. You cannot go a day without having a task ordered that you said, okay, I did this today. Today I need to do A. Now, it doesn't make a difference if you need to today pay your bills, you need to change your windshield wipers in your car, or to write your thesis. But that's what you need to do today. Don't go day by day by day by day, and then a whole entire week, then a month and a year, and so on and so forth, without setting goals to yourself. Now, and the same thing goes to our house. In our houses, in our homes, at work, and everything that we touch, everything that comes across our way, we need to really set those goals and really take charge of things. Of course, have to do with us. Now, the trick is like this: when you have control over your life, when you feel and operate that you are in control of your life, let's 1 second we'll take God of the equation. Believe me, when you act like this, you become a very non-controlling person. Because the need to control when you feel out of control of your life, you're really going to execute on others. You become a controlling person because you feel lack of control of your life. And then you become a bad person. Have control over your life. And that will go to all aspects of your life. What time you get up in the morning, and how do you go to sleep, and what do you do in the day, and what you don't do in the day. You need to decide. You need to understand that. Now, a commander needs to be a leader. Not everybody in command is also a leader. Because somebody can jump and, okay, you become the... I think there was a very fascinating TV series, I think it's called Band of Brothers. So the initial commander there was a commander, but one thing he wasn't, a leader. He was a control freak, but he wasn't a leader. Now, and that's what Kadosh Baruch Hu is telling him. Tell him Moshe Rabbeinu, Ata Tetzaveh, you're going to start ordering things around. You're going to start being the leader. But when he tells us also, let's look at this a little bit different. When he says Ata Tetzaveh, you're going to start commending yourself. Ata Tetzaveh, you start commending yourself. You start leading yourself. And if we're going to look at the expression of what is leadership, leadership is basically a personality trait, there, Mr. Personality trait that really allowed us to lead other people to a common goal with minimum authority. Because if it's maximum authority, that's not leadership, that's oppression, right? And a leadership act, right, really connects itself directly to influencing and being able to implement change. The definition between a light leadership, or what is the different types of leadership, really will help us to understand this phenomenon better. Like, for example, when there are people, let's say call it authority or rulership, right, to governing, it's completely different. When the authority and there is the governing, it's completely different. So we operate and we respond to that particular image that holds what we call the official authority. For example, who will be an official authority? Will be a king, would be a manager, will be your boss, will be a high officer, and so on and so forth. Now, it's very difficult to be able to distinguish if they really act from their own free will or because of fear of punishment. And that's what I told you. See now, all the stuff that we were talking the past few weeks regarding your attitude, why you do a certain mitzvot or why you don't do certain averot, most people do it because they don't want to get punished. So, we need to understand, is it because of punishment or it's because of the sense of authority that the other person feels? Now, using direct power also would operate the same thing. When a person is willing to obey what we call force, like that we have, let's say, somebody points a gun at you, right? So he's obeying the power because he's afraid of the gun. And when a person is listening to what the doctor tells him, he obeys what we call the modern force of which is common sense, knowledge, and so on and so forth. Because the doctor knows I'm willing to submit myself to his knowledge. If you tell me don't eat meat or don't eat sweet, I'm taking it upon myself because the doctor knows more than me, and so on and so forth. Now, one of the qualities that a leader should have, and this could be like a litmus test for you, or a checklist for you, to really examine the people that you deal with, that you call leaders, if they're really leaders or they're just a figure of authority. One of the things is that a leader needs to have a vision. And a vision is the ability to determine in a clear and very real way the goal, the common goal, or the common objective in which we are being led by this particular person. If the leader has no vision, if the leader is not able to tell you what is the reason and what is the objective of this mission is failed before it started. And that's true too. I'm sorry?
You're gonna go in circles?
No, you're gonna die. You're not gonna go in circles, you're gonna die. You're gonna lose yourself, yes. Circles is still good, you work in circles. Another quality that a leader should have is personal example. Personal example is the ability to really express in an act, in an action, or in behavior, the values in which the leader is expecting of you. In other words, I'm expecting you to be law-obeying people when I'm actually violating the law. That's why I keep telling you, leaders today are not leaders. Most of them are semi-criminal. Look anywhere you want. Almost in any country. They're not dignified. Now, whether it's a witch hunt by Bibi, or this one, or that one, or elections, or cahoots with China, or anywhere, these are not leaders. As far as I'm concerned, they're off the list. They're not my leaders. They're just powers that somebody put in to play around with. Do as I say, but not as I do. Right? That's exactly the example today. Now, the ability to make decisions and to implement them. To make decisions and implement them is the ability to really logically weigh, actions versus emotion. In Judaism we say, right? They call יהודי צריך להיות מלך. מה זה מלך? מוח, לב, כבד. Moach is logic. Heart and liver is all about emotions. That's why the head, the brain is here. Control the whole thing. You have to be logical what you're doing. You can't do acts that are not logical. And don't act emotionally. And that's why it's so annoying to me when people say, you go to an interview, right? The first word that people use, I'm very passionate about it. Listen, I'm not talking to you about 50 shades of passion here. Do you like what you do? Oh, I'm very passionate about it. Next. As far as I'm concerned, next. Next. Stop using the word out of the box. Stop using the word passionate. Don't use that. Find other words. If you can't find it, go to Zalman. Now, when you make those decisions and there's going to be chances, you have to weigh those risks all the time, together with the constant implementation of the decisions we make until we actually achieve our goals. The goals needs to be achieved. So he needs to be with his hand on his pulse all the time of how we're making a progress. Don't just say it, okay, I have a vision and then that's it. I had a dream. Okay, I had many dreams. Are you going to, as they say, die with memories? It's better to die with memories than to die with dreams. Whoever said that, I don't know who said it, but somebody said it. Leading to change, implementing change. Things need to always be adaptive. So if something is not working, you need to lead to change. It's the ability to deal with different situations. Because situations comes all the time. People are afraid. It's very interesting. Think about Americans, right? Americans is a very interesting breed. So let's say you go to a place like, Oklahoma or Kansas, or where they have tornadoes all the time. Comes a tornado, sweep everything around. Community is destroyed. What happened? The people come back there to go somewhere else. Why? I mean, that's one of the reasons why Americans don't usually migrate to other countries. They don't like change. So things change all the time. Those who change move, for example, from New York to Florida. That's a form of change. Or to Texas. But, to deal with those changing circumstances all the time, with all the complications of it, the difficulties that are involved with that, a leader should be able to deal with that. You should have a social, you're going to love this, psychosocial approach, which is an intuition regarding the way in which the needs of the people are being addressed. You need to understand you're working with people, not with robots. And this is in order for them to operate in a consistent way until you're going to achieve your goals and objectives. If you're not going to do it, you're never going to achieve anything. And those goals and objectives in which you need to take into account the people's needs, and so on and so forth. An ability to be organized, in other words, to shape and to create systems in place that would maintain, and you need to make sure you have all these checks and balances to make sure that the systems you put in place are actually operational and continue to be operational. You need to be courageous. Courageous is the ability to receive decisions in very unique situations that sometimes would look to the people who you are leading as this is not what we came here for. We need to continue. And he said, no, we need to stop. This mission is over. We need to move, and so on and so forth. Right? Whether it's ethical issues, strategic, intellectual, and so on and so forth, that those change would lead you at the end to achieve those goals that you set in place, keeping the trust of the people in you. You need to make sure that people keep on trusting you. When people lost trust in you, you can't lead them anywhere. And the last one is, the last one, what will be? Be able to delegate. Be able to delegate is to give an ability, or to give the chance to people some of your authorities without reducing your responsibility to the consequences. In other words, you should be able to say, mi culpa, it's my fault. Even if he did it, since I'm the leader, it's my fault. You want to see an example of that, how it's not being happened? Look whatever is happening in Israel. None of the people are willing to take responsibility for that. Yes, finish the war, but say, whatever happened is under my watch. I was in command. I failed. Nobody will do that. These are not people that I call leaders. The Parashat goes further into giving the details of the Kohen Gadol and gives us the detail on every single aspect of it to teach us, to make sure that everything that we involve with, whether it's our clothing and everything that we have, our house, is going to be pure. Our actions should be pure. You need to pay attention to details. Don't multitask. Do one thing at a time. Do it good. Do it well. Finish it. But pay attention to details. You want to see attention to details? Go to Japan. Because otherwise, if you can't do that, you cannot commend an order on the reality of your life. When you are not aware of what is going around you, you cannot be in control of everything in your life. You need to be in control. Don't let other people I'll take care for you, and then you just leave it like that. Somebody told me that the reason why that you're not going to be able to live in a van and to live life on $30 a day is because he has to send kids to Yeshiva and to pay money. But the thing is very simple. If you learn and you do homeschooling for your kids, that one of the reasons that people don't do it is why? Or mainly, I think, the main reason why people don't do it.
Because of work.
I'm sorry?
Because of work.
No, I'll tell you why. then we have nobody to blame. Because if you send your kids to school and your kids doesn't turn up to be the way you wanted him to be, you blame the schools. You blame the Rebbe, you blame the school, you blame the system. If you do the work, you can't blame anybody. You have to blame yourself, and that's I'm not willing to do. So that's why most people don't do that step. And they're still complaining. So the Zohar explained to us that what does it mean, the word ve'ata, which is mentioned almost throughout the whole Parashat, time after time after time. Vav is Vav HaChibur, the Vav of the connection, the end. And you would command, right? And the Vav, and that Vav is, we spoke last week about the last Hey. This is the Vav of the Yud Ke Vav Ke, right? That really symbolizes to us the abundance that comes from the upper world down to this world. That's the connective tissue that connects the abundance of the other worlds. It keeps on coming all the time to our world. It says ve'ata tetzaveh. You want abundance in your life? Start taking care of yourself. Stop being responsible for your actions. Stop being, give account to your actions. Don't blame somebody else. Stop blaming daddy. Stop blaming mommy. Stop blaming your third grade teacher. Stop blaming your Rebbe. Stop blaming anybody. Start taking responsibility. Be in control. You can only take responsibility when you do it. I'm aware of what I'm doing. Only like this you're going to have shefa in your life. Only like that you're going to have bracha in your life. Because that's what makes the Kohen ve'ata, and you will do it. And you will command. You'll be in charge of your life. Nobody should go and wake you up in the morning. It's nobody's job to wake you up in the morning. You should be able to wake yourself up. You should wash your dishes. You should wash your laundry. You should cook. You should do that. Don't expect anybody to do that for you. Do not expect anything from anyone. Then you'll be able to receive. When you expect stuff from people, chayav enav chayim. Why? Soneh matanot ichye. He who hates gifts would live. Why? Because you don't expect anything. That's a life. Not if you receive gifts, you'll die. But living life all the time, waiting to expect to get something, feeling entitled. Oh, I need to get this. Oh, I need to get that. What we are doing, for example, with all these illegals that are coming here is stupidity. You're going to give a family $1,500 for what? And then they come in and say, what kind of place is that? We don't give us pocket change. It's not going to work. We're bringing those people in to make them dependent on us. We're creating a whole state of dependency. We don't have enough poor people on our own. We need to make those people even poorer. That's crazy. We want to make decisions for them. When somebody making decisions for you, he's your boss, not you. Now, so as the Vav symbolizes that Shefa, the word Ata means Me'alef Ataf, from A to Z. It all has to be your responsibility. You're responsible for everything in your life. Unfortunately, people don't want to be responsible. We don't teach our children to be responsible. Everybody likes to come and have a free meal. Nobody wants to come in and cook it. Nobody wants to come in and clean it. Everybody wants to come in and eat. Nobody wants to do anything. And there goes a home. There's going to go from your mother to your wife and so on and so forth. That's a matter of your attitude. Don't expect anything from anybody. Be grateful that somebody's doing something for you. And Me'alef ve'atav means everything. The letter Hey represents our word, right? And therefore, ve'ata, the word ve'ata, vav, aleph, taf, hey, means the connection to all the divine abundance from A to Z, from beginning to an end, through the vav, which is that pipe, the pipeline that brings it all the way down to our reality of our life. Now we need to understand the project of Moshe Rabbeinu that he took upon himself to really lift the heads up of Am Yisrael. Moshe took a nation of slaves and made them into a level of princes, of sons of kings. In Parashat Kitisa, it starts ki tisa et rosh bnei Israel lefikudehem, right? If you're going to lift the head, מה זה tisa? To lift. If you're going to lift the head of bnei Israel, tisa et rosh, you lift them up, cheer them up, right? And then ונתנו איש כופר לנפשו להשם בפקוד אותם ולא יהיה בהם נגב בפקוד אותם. כי תישא, when you're going to lift the head up of the Jews. That's why it's very important not to speak badly about Jews. Only speak good. You're taking part of that. And in Parashat Ki Tisa, the whole essence of Avodah of Moshe, it's been really, really been coming to light. That's why it's called the Parashat of Moshe Rabbeinu. And after the Chet HaEgel, Moshe Rabbeinu tells HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Im Tisa chatotam v'im ein macheni na. Now pay attention to the words macheni na. He says, basically saying, listen, there's no way I can do my job. I cannot do my job and lift the heads up. On the contrary, if you're going to decree a decree of death or annihilation to Am Israel, do me a favor, I cannot do that. I cannot do that. So when it says, when we talk about what we call a Rebbe or a Rav or something like this, a real Rav, Rashi Tevot, right? Rebbe, Rashi Tevot, Ra Beinei Hashem, is bad in the eyes of Hashem. Why? Because a real Rebbe, a real leader, lifts the up of these Talmidim, doesn't allow them to sink down. He's supposed to tell them, listen, I believe in you. You can do things better. I can teach you. Don't think that your people are not capable. By doing so, let them sink further and further into darkness. The job of them is to say, listen, you are capable. Let me bring you up. I'll show you the light. You can do it. That's what a real leader is. And Moshe by himself really fixes the place in which Noach failed. Noach, if he would change his attitude and he would make the Teva, Beit Mikdash, a temple, that would have been different. Right? And he would not go in the way of Tochecha. He says, look, I'm building an ark for me and my family. Be careful for because the flood is coming. Prepare yourself and so on and so forth. Right? Why didn't it work? Because it says, Rashayim, afilu al pitcha shel gehinom enam chazrin b'tshuva. A wicked person, even if it's the gates of hell, is not going to repent. So you want them to repent? Noach, you failed. You didn't do what needs to be done. And that is, by the way, what Rabbi Akiva learned, and that's what gave him the koach to get up and learn Torah at the age of 40, by realizing that he has the endurance to persevere. I can do it. And this is, and how did he get it? Through the water. Why he came through Mabul? Through water. And that's what Rabbi Akiva said. If water can change the shape of a stone, so I cannot learn Torah, I cannot change my way because the Torah is compared to water. He said the Torah is the water and I'm the rock. If he can change me, I don't care what age, let me do it. So never say, listen, it's not for me, I tried, it's not for me. If you tried and you didn't find it, means you didn't try really hard enough or you didn't try truly. Never give up on Torah. Never. So there is the story of this rabbi. His name was Rabbi Lupin. He lives in Haifa. Years ago, he lives in Haifa, and for years, every Shabbat, he used to get out from this house. Listen to the Friday, you would like that. And he used to go next to the kiosk, where they sell, like the bodega over there. And he used to walk by the Bala kiosk, the owner, he used to say Shabbat Shalom. Every Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. And also when he moved to a different apartment, he used to do a special turn to walk by the store to continue blessing this guy by telling him Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. At the end of his life, one Shabbat, guy, the owner, came to him and said, listen, Rabbi, I had it with you, I had it. I don't know how you can continue with this, but I just had it. I had enough of this. And he said, I cannot take this anymore. Therefore, I'm closing the shop today and I'm going with you to shul. He didn't go to him, Rabbi Lupi, did not go to him and say, Shabbos, go, shake it! Nicely. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom. The guy said, you know what, said that night, that's it. And he eventually became a Baal Tshuva. That's why Moshe Rabbeinu says, Macheni na. Macheni na, mem, chet, nun, yud. The same letters, now if you take it, will be Mei Noach, the water of Noach. Macheni na, the water of Noach, which basically, that's the tikkun of Noach. That's the tikkun of Noach. In both cases, both when the Am Yisrael did the Egel, and the time of Dora Mabul, there were great dinim in the world that really threatened to destroy all mankind. Everybody. And in the time of the Egel, right, it was Am Yisrael. But Moshe Rabbeinu prays for Am Yisrael before the decree comes out, and he's wailing that his name will be erased. The biggest curse that in Judaism that we have, when we curse somebody, say Yimach Shemo, his name will be erased. Here Moshe is willing to take it upon himself to erase me from your book, erase any of my memory, but don't hurt Am Yisrael. He's willing to be Moser Nefesh for Am Yisrael. And Noach, only when he came out of the ark, he understood that all he needed to do is to cry and to pray for his people all the generation. Excuse me, he didn't do it. That's why, thanks for the water. When Moshe Rabbeinu says, Mecheni na, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says to him, you're not going to be like Noach. You're going to do something different. You're going to build a Mishkan, a tabernacle, that's going to light to the whole entire world, that's going to connect all the souls together. And this is, by the way, Rabotai, the idea behind building the Temple Mount. Some people find themselves to be very intellectual. Sometimes very primitive. They think that the whole issue of Bet HaMikdash is to make some giant barbecue every single day. God is not into barbecue. The whole focal point, the whole idea behind the Mishkan, and we call it Bavat Eino Shel Am Yisrael, that was the pupil of Am Yisrael, that everybody would look into it, and that was the unifying factor of Am Yisrael. When the Kadosh Baruch Hu saw that Am Yisrael is divided on the Mikdash, he said, take it out, I don't want it. You will need to find something else, and that will be the Torah. You're gonna circle yourself around. The nations don't want Am Yisrael to build the Mikdash because the nations don't want the Tikkun Olam, don't want to break this bad habits that we have as people. The Mikdash is not just about Am Yisrael. The Mikdash is about the whole entire nation, bringing the nations together. But the world does not want it. They want to kill, to rape, to mutilate, to oppress. And people are stupid enough not to understand that, or conveniently enough stupid not to understand that. That's why the whole fight is over the Mikdash. It's not about Gaza, it's not about the West Bank, not the East Bank. The whole fight is ultimately about Beit HaMikdash. And the Israeli government made a huge mistake when they handed it over to the Waqf after 1967, because unfortunately some rabbinical authorities could not see the vision of what will happen from that further down the road, 50 years down the road from that. They might have been great scholars, but as far as I'm concerned, leaders, they were not. Last week we learned that we need to elevate everything that we do for the sake of Hashem. This week we learned that we need to connect that reality with the Vav, and that's the Kavanah of the Lev. the intent of the heart that needs to be in every physical action. We need to involve God with it. And what we need to put inside of it is holiness, love, and meaning. And the actions of the results of our actions are going to be very powerful and very meaningful. Because something that the food that was created with love, with all the heart, is going to taste completely different than somebody just make it to make a couple of dollars. Needless to say, when made out of anger or hatred, so forth. In other words, to summarize it almost on time, we need to take responsibility of all aspects of our life, including the way we think, including our attitudes, and to really, in order to really be able to experience success, or what we call true success, you need to direct your life along those lines of holiness, love, giving, in everything you do. Examine what is the Torah view on this act, and then do it. If the Torah view is not that, don't do it. Like this, we'll have the schut, hopefully, of building the Mikdash and really being able to do the tikkun that is appropriate, that we really need. So Be'ezrat Hashem, guys, love, compassion, meaning, and Yirat Shamayim will bring the Yeshua. Shabbat Shalom.